Jay, good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you.
What were your first impressions of the on-ice aspect today?
Yeah, I thought it was a real good day for these young players to come in and show what they have to not only the coaches on the ice, but the coaching staff for our parent club and obviously our managers that were watching from up top. I thought we tried to keep things simple today. We wanted them to go fast. Our theme was to go north and work towards the opponent's net. And I thought there was a lot accomplished, and very impressed with the try and effort of the young men that were out there today.
I know you want to evaluate as much as possible at this week at least, but how much do you introduce the players to the system that the organization wants to play at both levels?
Well, I think we're quite understanding that we play a game on Saturday night here against a big rival in the Calgary Flames rookies. So we understand that. So we have to give our players some pieces of information. Our goal is to keep it simple and not try and be over enamored with complexity, especially in the 2 days that we have to prepare. We just want to give our players basic framework so that they understand the way we want to play. They're not wandering around without a compass, so to speak, and they should have an understanding of where their teammates will be on the ice. We got some good reps in today, but as I said, we're trying to keep things simple and not overcook it or overcomplicate it for them.
And Keith talked last week just a little bit about the defensemen in Baco this year, and I think only one player is under 6 feet. What can you say about just that tall, mobile, and kind of rangy blue line that you're going to have?
Yeah, some tall trees on the back end. It's a uniquely built back end. I would never want to presuppose or pre-assume who's going to be down in Bakersfield this year. I think a lot of people feel good about the opportunities that they're going to have, not only here in rookie camp, but heading into main camp next week. But I just think the collection of young talent on the back end is an exciting aspect of our organization. And you mentioned their sizes, and that's something that you can't teach as a coach. You can't teach someone to be 6'4" or 6'5". They either have it or they don't. And our job as a coaching staff and as an organization is to try and maximize what each person brings to the table. So excited about the potential players that might end up in Bakersfield for sure.
Woody, talk to us about your goaltending, sort of from 30,000 feet. Like, you got Rodriguez coming in, is kind of first-year pro. You got the Russian kids coming over here. He's a little bit older. He's played some pro. You got Skinner down there, who's kind of ready to be the guy, the next guy up. Maybe you get Stalock. As the minor league coach, what do you do with all this goaltending, and how do you develop them?
Well, it's also a position of strength for the organization, I think, as well. All the goaltenders that you mentioned bring something different to the table. They're all accomplished in their own right. They're pedigreed, and I'll start with Stuart Skinner for sure. Stuart, I've had the opportunity to coach him over the last 3 years. I've seen him as he's transitioned from junior hockey into professional hockey. I see tremendous growth, and I see someone who has developed not only on the ice and built different parts of his game, but he's really matured off the ice, and he's an impressive human being to be around. And I thought he took a real step last season. I think he was helped by his experience up in Edmonton and learning at this level, not only from Dustin Schwartz, the goalie coach here, but also from the shooters at this level, to learn about what NHL level preparation is, and to learn from some of the guys he shared the net with in Mike Smith and Mikko as well. So that was a great experience. It set him up for a good season. We rode him hard last year, and put him in situations to try and test him, see where he was at on his development curve, and he passed a lot of those tests. So he's an exciting prospect heading into year 4 of his own development curve. You talked about Olivier Rodrigue. Ollie was thrust into a starting position immediately out of the gate last year for us in Bakersfield. He made some big saves for us early. It took him a while to find his rhythm and find his groove. What I really liked about Olivier is that I saw growth as the season wore on, and his numbers down the stretch. And even we played a game in the playoffs where we gave up some goals early. I made a goaltending change, and Olivier Rodrigue went in and gave a good account of himself in that game when we were in a tough spot. And so I saw good growth from him. I'm excited to see what Konovalov can bring to the table as well. I know he's coming into the organization with a lot of fanfare, and he's a pedigreed guy who played at a high level in the KHL last couple of years, and it's going to be exciting. I think those answers will play themselves out as we work our way through NHL training camp and into eventually Condors training camp in October.
Rodrigue's dad is your goalie coach, correct?
Yeah, he is. Yep, yeah.
How's that work?
It's an interesting dynamic. For us, I can speak to Sylvain Rodrigue as being just a experienced, a professional, somebody who's meticulous in his preparation. He's been with this organization for a long time in various capacities, and for Sly to have the opportunity to coach his son at a professional level, that's an interesting dynamic. I think at the end of everything, when it comes to making decisions on goaltenders or goaltending rotations, my job as the head coach is to make the final decision. I try and gather up as much information as I can. I use my eyes, and I talk to the people on our staff and gather that information. But at the end of the day, the decision at that level is mine on who to play. And I've been lucky. It's been a real position of strength, especially last year for us.
Woody, your defense, what are the differences between Samorukov, who's actually played 2 years of pro, and Broberg, who's played pro but only in Europe? Now, is his learning curve going to be a little different than Samorukov's going to Bakersfield if that's where he starts the season?
I would expect it to be a little bit different. Not only has Sammy played a year in the American Hockey League, but he's also played on the dimensions of North American ice in the Ontario Hockey League. So culturally, he is assimilated. He speaks great English. He understands the way the North American game is being played. He had a great experience of going back and playing at a high level on a very good team in the KHL. He's in year 3 of his development. He's of his professional development in North America. And so we're expecting him to display that he's taken a step. We're excited about what he's shown in his recovery from his injury and the work that he put in and the commitment that he has shown to the organization by coming to Edmonton and spending his summer here. So he's a little bit farther along on the North American side of how the game's played here and on this dimension. I'm excited to see Philip work his way through here, not only rookie camp, but into main camp as well, and be put into situations on this type of ice surface. Obviously, he had the experience last year in the bubble where he got to play in an exhibition game. And, I just think that Sammy's a little bit older. He's had the experience of being over here. So naturally, there's a little bit bit of a difference in terms of their comfortness or comfortability at playing the game at a professional level here in North America. But that's why everybody's here, is to be a pro in North America, and we're excited to see what Philip work his way through preseason here and into the eventual season.
Now, you lost J.F. Houle to the Montreal Canadiens farm team, so
Yeah.
What's that like? And now you hired another assistant coach.
Yeah. First of all, I think it's very healthy I think, over the last 3 years in Bakersfield, we've moved a strength coach on to the National Hockey League. We've moved a video coach on to the National Hockey League, and we've now moved an assistant coach on to become his own head coach in the American Hockey League. And it's something we're proud of. We want to be known not only as player developers, but people developers as well. Selfishly, I believe that when you earn the reputation as an organization of being a place that moves people on to the highest level, selfishly, I think that it's a virtuous loop. You continue to attract good people because you have that track record of moving people on. And when an assistant coach moves on, it's an opportunity to bring somebody else into the fold that might have new ideas, fresh ideas, different sets of experiences. And I think, as I said, I think that's very healthy. And I know that put a lot of work into the process of finding that next person. And we're excited to add Colin Chalk onto our coaching staff.
Dave Manson, obviously his role is very important because all these defensemen, for the most part, are young. It's not like, especially this year, it's not like Stanton's going to be there or Gravel's going to be there, who played for a while. Is it a lot of work for him, or is it much like just older defensemen than he had in junior when he was in Prince Albert? He had a bunch of guys who, some of them were 19, some of them were 17, and he had to work with these people.
Well, I can't say enough about Dave Manson and his effect on our team down in Bakersfield, and his overall effect, the cumulative effect that it's had on the organization as a whole. I see somebody who had a career with different elements to it. He was a first-round pick. He played over 1,000 games in the National Hockey League. He played different roles on good teams. He was an NHL All-Star at one point. I think he scored over 100 goals as a defenseman in the National Hockey League. So when you think of Dave as a player, I think everybody goes to the physical element and his confidence and confrontation. But not everybody thinks about what good of a hockey player he was. So he's got a lot to bring to the table and a lot to share. I think when you think of Dave Manson as the coach, he's somebody who didn't just get airlifted into an opportunity. He went back to Prince Albert. He raised his family in Prince Albert and worked his way up through the minor hockey side of things into becoming an assistant coach in the WHL for a long time and riding buses. And what I like about him is that he's continually trying to improve. He works at his craft. He's not afraid of changing or evolving with the times. And, I joke around, I think I've said it before, that I call him my left tackle because he takes care of my blind sides and he puts out fires that might, be small embers at the start, but he puts them out quickly and makes sure that as an organization, as a coaching staff, that we're taking care of what we need to take care of. So I'm very thankful that I have both Colin and Dave on staff.
One last question on Broberg. Are you interested in seeing a guy who skates so well, telling him just start lugging the puck? You skate so well, let's not rein you in here. You're in a smaller rink than in Europe, but we want to see you skate with the puck. You're such a good skater.
It's funny because Dave has a saying that it's hard to teach go. And I think one of Philip's assets is that he has that go to his game. So it's a unique skill. I can tell you that in Bakersfield last year, we didn't have somebody that had that. So it'll be an interesting element to our decor this year if Philip ended up with us. But like I said, I would be hesitant to assume that. I think he's going to give a good account of himself here in training camp. And, should he end up in Bakersfield, I think you want to accentuate a player's positives. And, for a lot of young players, it's about teaching them when to pick spots and when to, really go for it. But like I said, Dave has that saying, it's hard to teach go. It's a good thing to have in someone.
Hey, Woody, good to see you. Just a quick housekeeping thing. A lot of interest in Konovalov, like you said. I know he was out there early in the skate. but not so much later. Everything okay there? No injury or anything?
Yeah, he's working his way through something minor. We'll see where he is after today. There has been some improvement, but we'll see if he joins the full group tomorrow.
Hey, Jay, you got a lot going on out there. You got a bunch of new guys, you're coaching, you're teaching, you're evaluating. How do you do the juggling act?
How do I do the job? Is that the question?
Yep.
Yeah. I don't look at it like a job. It's my passion. And I'm very fortunate to work in an organization that I feel valued in. I'm fortunate to work with people that I believe make me better on a daily basis and challenge me on a daily basis. I feel very welcomed, and our staff feels very welcome by Dave Tippett and his staff since we've been in town here and as we work our way through the start of training camp. I think when work is your passion, it's easy to get up in the morning and try and find new ways to do things and try and push the envelope. And when you get to do that around a staff that you really believe in and that believes in you, and when you get to work with quality young men that burn with purpose, you know, I pinch myself sometimes because I'm lucky to have this position.
And when it comes to evaluating, when you're down there in the trenches and you've got some new kids and new systems, how much does it mean to have that interaction when it comes to the person and the player?
It's very important. We believe in dealing with the person first and the player second. And so I think it's not just a one-time thing. It's not something you do once or once a month or once every 6 weeks or so. I believe coaching is almost a continual conversation, and there's ways of sending messages. Sometimes it's verbal, sometimes it's visual, sometimes it's nonverbal, sometimes it's kinesthetic. There's different ways to get to different people, and when you're coaching a team, it's not always a one-size-fits-all for everybody. That's part of the challenge of coaching, but I think if you can really get to know your players as people, you can learn how to push buttons and get the most out of their potential. And there's no perfect way of doing that. I've been fortunate to learn from some really good coaches over my career. And I think you're a product of your influences, and you bring those with you as you approach new situations. And like I said, I'm very fortunate to be surrounded by a great staff that helped me along every step of the way.